Hello, it's Brian Whitten and ET Art. I just wanted to put another video up because we did leave a question in respect the flow of the oceans in respect to the last video. Before I go on with that though, I did want to talk to you about what has transpired in respect to the rock, which we are now looking at again. I might just move that just a tad, excuse me, and you'll see the image will move. So I am in actual fact using the same rock. Okay, sorry, I'll hold that there a little bit longer. It is the Tin Tam rock we're looking at. I'll slide that back in and I'll move it to where we have seen the images come and go. Now before I go on, I will say that if you have not watched at this point video I've got up that is called The Programmable Rock, you need to go and watch that obviously, because I will sound like a complete Looney Tune. That'll be what will happen. So please go back and watch that video. You will see that there have been lines and whatnot come and go off this rock, which seems to have happened again today, but we will discuss what lines have gone and disappeared, and then I'll go on to why I believe that's actually happened. I'm going to move that to that location there, because that's the one I want to concentrate on. At this point, there's been a few other white lines, as you can see up here over to the left there. We won't worry about those at this minute. What I want to discuss with you is that it would appear to be as silly as it sounds, that we've had Nibiru here and a man standing alongside what I, as depicted, was the Great Australian Bight and Port Augusta and whatnot, and that I'll insert the image yet again of the comet that was at this location, and there was a question mark there. Well, both those marks have gone, and I will tell you why. You'll also note the white loop line that came up in the middle of making that video has also gone. It's like when I have, as silly as it sounds, made the correct assumption because of what was built into the pyramid, that the lines have disappeared off this rock. I know that sounds bloody stupid, but that, if I'm looking at what I'm seeing in front of me, that is exactly what's happening. We had Nibiru here, we had a man standing here. When I had come to the conclusion, because of some of the images that I had seen on the rocks, which you'll be surprised what happens with this rock itself when I just even tone down the light. I'm using the microscope light on this. I'm in my little, what is a pantry, but it's sort of somewhat secluded from outside light. Not all of it, but certainly a fair bit. I'm not in the dark by any stretch of the imagination. So, well, some may ponder that could be another story altogether. Listen, I'm just dealing with what we've got happening, and I'm just saying that that would appear to me to be the case. These marks have gone because I worked out that Nibiru does not threaten man. It comes up and cycles around Jupiter. The dots here have gone because I come to the conclusion yesterday afternoon or last night that in actual fact the reason why the comet was put there in that comet, as also I'll do an insert now of Google Earth, as you can see that comet is there, clear and easy to see, and that was depicted by the Saxahuman walls. I will show you the centre wall, and you will note there are 6 extra bits on the centre wall. It actually makes out like the centre wall is the one that lands first. It is always depicted as being the small comet, and lands, I would expect, some 6 days earlier as a warning to the former civilization. That's what the rocks are saying and depicting. That's the reality that I'm seeing. We still have this line here, which is the pyramid, with the line going over to what is the Great Australian Bight, and I've since had these 2 dots come up very, very more brighter than they've ever been before. I know I'll insert the other image now with Nibiru so you can have a look at that as an insert, so it's real close and real obvious that this is part of the rock where it was, and as you can see they're not there now. So these two have come up bright, and I now know why they have come up bright, and it's got to do, in my opinion, with the Yonaguni Monument in Japan. And I will go now and just show you on Google Earth another thing. I've got Google Earth open now. I just wanted to show you the line of longitude from the Tropic of Cancer here, which is the location of the comet impact in Central Australia, which is this one here. And if I go directly up, almost on the very same line of longitude, is the Yonaguni Monument. Okay, so if I do a search on that, you'll see that it comes down very, very close to the very same line of longitude. Okay, and what I wanted to do, now I'll zoom back out again. Now, when we back out from the Yonaguni Monument, back out to the red line here, which is the line of longitude that the centre comet landed on, and go down the line of longitude to Australia, continue that line of longitude on here, and what we do is we come to a place called Wave Rock. Okay, Wave Rock is a natural, well, said to be a natural formed, well, you know, like I said, you could believe it's natural, but Wave Rock is on the same line of longitude, but it's 2 degrees to the right, 2 degrees to the west, or 2 degrees to the left of the line, whereas the other one is 2 degrees to the right, the Yonaguni Monument. So the Yonaguni Monument and Wave Rock are both, one is 2 degrees to the west, the other is 2 degrees to the east. If I follow Wave Rock directly across on the line of latitude that it's on, it intersects with this red line, which is the one that actually intersects directly with Ayers Rock. It is the line of longitude the planet tilted on. It is 12 degrees difference to that line there. All of these structures are linked, and they are linked for one reason. When the Earth starts to stand up again, when it hits the plane of the Sun, what happens is our Sun controls the Earth's oceans far, far, far more differently than what does the Moon, to the degree when the Sun is on the other side of the globe. Right, so in other words, this is why the Yonaguni Monument is there. Here it is, and it's saying to you, when the Sun is on the other side of the globe, the water level, once we are in plane with the Sun, or at least to this 12 degree level, and the 12 degrees in 70 years we hit this 12 degrees, 75 years or thereabouts, that the Yonaguni Monument and the top of it will be exposed at low tide. That is what it is all about. I'll go back down now here to Wave Rock, and we'll have a look at Wave Rock. This is Wave Rock. Now it's 2 degrees left of the line. Do you understand what we're actually seeing here? I thought when I was originally understanding that the tidal waves had come, and that had, you know, been the problem with the last civilization, that they destroyed them. I obviously saw this then and realised, you know, maybe had something to do with that. But in actual fact, the wave actually points the wrong way. This points off west. It does not point to where the waves came from, like the waves that killed the former civilization. It points in the wrong direction. So I think what we're actually seeing here, these are not. This is not a wave that's come once this big. What we're seeing, because of where it is, we're seeing the tide come back on a daily basis like this. This is what's going to happen. When we get into plane with the Sun, I'll go back to Google Earth, when we come back up and we straighten back up, the sun over this side is pulling the water that much that the tide on this side drops that far that when the tides change and come back in with the rotating planet, we are left with tide changes like this. This is going to be a daily thing. This will, well, it destroys. It'll be on every landmass, every continent, every coastline around the world, all of us. There will be none of us escape this issue. And this is a major problem, a very, very, very major problem, and I believe that in actual fact is why the pyramids were built, to reflect another thing that happens to us when our planet stands up straight. And it might be another reason why they tilted the axis as they did, because because of the problem. So once we come into plane with the sun, it's telling us we have some very, very major problems. Now, for every problem there is a solution. Whether we have the technology and the time, they are the two things we need to resolve the issue. I'll just go back to Google Earth for a minute. So we come back to Google Earth then and realise that if we've got the sun directly over the ocean here, it's going to have that much effect, pulling the water up off the ocean, or pulling the water this way. It's going to leave 16 feet less at the Yonaguni Monument. That's a major, major, major problem. And on a daily basis, we have a problem, a major, major problem. If the pressure in the bottom of the ocean here can crush a submarine, the planet possibly could be made breathe. The oceans breathe, if you know what I mean. Like you release the pressure at the bottom of the ocean over to the other side of the globe. I know that sounds stupid, but really it's the only way you're going to resolve the problem. How else are you going to have the issue resolved? I know that sounds like a silly thing. It's possible that they are doing this already. I know that also sounds weird, but there are people and reports all over the globe about funny noises and groans and coming from the ground, and the people that built our pyramid for us and let us know what a planet has, our dangers our planet suffers from a planetary collision from a comet. That's what's been taught us. We've gone through that in the other videos. But what we're looking at here, the globe, that's what's going to happen. As soon as it stands up like this, we are going to get the effect of the sun is going to drive our tides, and it drives it far, far, far differently. I do not know whether we are doing anything, whether they are doing anything, but I can be telling you something. It is, in my opinion, those structures where they are, and like I said, this is the line of longitude here that was tilted, and this is the collision here that tilted the globe, and it is directly, I'll go round upside down like I said, it is right in the middle of Ayers Rock, and 12 degrees from the line back to Yonaguni. So, it's a problem. I wanted to show you one other thing on the rock now. I'll go back to the rock and we'll have a look at that. You can probably tell I've had a few goes at making this video only because of what has transpired over the last 24 hours with the marks on the rock. But I also wanted to discuss that because that round circle there on this rock has never been here. This is exactly the same rock. We've had this under the microscope before. This is where Nibiru was on this side over here. Okay, so I'll just move a little bit so you can see that that's where Nibiru was, right in this corner. And Australia was on this side here, or the Great Australian Bites just here. So pan back this way again. That white line has never been there until this morning, or that when the two dots came out on the Great Australian Bite. That is also a white line that has never been there ever is this the answer to the problem? Because I was thinking about the pressure at the bottom of an ocean and using the pressure from the depth of the water to push it out to the other side of the planet, but then that doesn't work because we're looking at the gravitational pull of the sun pulling the water back out of the pipe again. Is that the answer? I don't know. Like I said, I'm not a hydrologist, I'm not a geologist, I'm not any of these people. I'm just sitting here looking at a rock that just seems to be able to send us messages, as silly as that sounds. We saw just here, I'll move the rock again, just here was where we saw the white line come and go, the white hook line, and just here is the pyramid line. And we've seen this one come up, and we've seen that one come up and disappear, and that's never been back ever since we've worked out why it was there. It was because in the Serapeum we only did a half loop, and now the same rock has come up with this, and I'd never seen that before. I've had exactly that part of the rock under the microscope many times. I've had the light going from left to right. I've even done this very rock with you not so long back. We went back and we moved the light, and I got the man lying back down here and getting operated on. That was in this part of the rock here. So you can see we've had this all under the light before. We've never seen that ever. That round circle has only just come within the last day or two. Okay, so maybe this is the answer in that it's opened and closed when you've got the pipe running from, it's got to go around the globe from one ocean to the, to the same ocean. And then maybe that's what it's saying here. I don't know. Like I said, it's a very unusual thing to happen. Well, I thought I'd just put that in to give you some thought processes. There are people that do have the qualifications. Towards the end of the video too, I say that well, that brings us close to the end of the video. I'm actually not quite at the end of the video there, so if you're interested in the rocks, in the imagery, just hang around for a little bit longer, because there's some very interesting imagery that comes up on the rock we're looking at. Yeah, I just wanted to put this in here as well. This was a microscopic image of what I thought was, or perceived to be, a tidal wave washing in across the lands, although I perceive this to be of the event that tilted the axis, that these tidal waves like this, it swept right across the land. This looks like it's even got like a communications tower up top of these mountains here, and it looks like it's sweeping in across the land here. And if I move, I'll pan it just a little bit further to the left, and you'll see it just looks like the ocean washing up against the shoreline here, and big tidal wave coming in. But I did say that there are things that you will see, like question marks that will pop up and like that there. This little mark down here, it just looks like it comes up with a question mark. So when you get your lighting and things right, it is really quite amazing what you see. This rock, although like I said, it's not just this rock, there are many rocks. You could be here for hours. I've got so many other things in life I've got to go and organise and do, but I would believe that what I'm doing here is pretty important. I'll move on. Now I've just moved that image just a little bit over to the left on the same rock, and like I said, these are the white marks that I haven't seen before. But something else captured my attention that I hadn't really noticed before. Like I said, it's the same part of the rock that had the 4 written here, and these are the white marks here that we saw represented the size of the comets that hit at the bottom of South America, which is still in that area there. I wanted you to notice here, and this is what I mean, you can turn the rock and rotate and slightly change something, and you would have no idea what image pops up. I'm going to tone down the light here just a little bit, and I've only moved this just up a bit and twisted just a tad. I want you to see what you're seeing here. Look at this. You're not seeing a mountain and a volcano erupting here. I'll turn it down again and you watch what happens. You see what I mean? Oops. An erupting volcano right here. It's an amazing thing to see and have. I don't know, like I said, I often wonder whether there's things that I've done where I've discovered things, but I can honestly tell you that it is absolutely amazing. And if I turn this down even more, you'll probably find that there's other visions, other things that'll turn up. It is truly astounding, this rock and what is on it. I'm going to move this slightly to the left now, okay, away from the volcano and over to this one here, and see what you see there, because I know that's it looks weird as well, doesn't it? You know, what will happen if I tone this down a bit and get this, and this is, like I said, I'm just adjusting the light on the microscope here ever so slightly, and look at what you're seeing happen. It's an amazing thing, absolutely amazing. And to me, I just sit here, and this is why I've called my business, like I said, ET Art. It is astounding, and this is not something that is akin just to my rock. I've got other rocks, and they are not ones. This is not, you know, you can call this natural if you like. I might just take a few photos of that myself, because like I said, my pictures are far clearer. Okay, you're seeing me videotape this and move. Now I'm going to just show you and prove to you that it's the same rock. Okay, I'll move back over here, and that's where we are. Okay, and that is what is astounding about all of this. I refocused on that other area, which is why you see that not so bright. So you can just see what I'm talking about. It is absolutely, and my focus, if I then refocus on this point of the rock again, you can see that it is so minute, both in light and in you know, when you refocus like that. As you can see, it's just immediately come back to being like that. And then once again, the light itself is, well, I did say, like I said, all would be revealed by the light. And we move back over here again, and well, I don't know, if you're asking me, that looks like Saturn. When I got that just in the right light, it looks like Saturn and the rings around Saturn. Like I said, I'll cut that out of the video if that isn't what it looks like, but certainly looks like to me. Look, I think we've covered enough today. We've looked at the problem, we looked at the message, we possibly have a solution. I don't know, like I said, I would think that we need to do something very, very quickly if we are not already. Yeah, I thought I might finish this video with a little bit of a chat. If what I have suggested is in actual fact correct, and that the megaliths and megalithic sites and wave rock and all these things are in actual fact exactly that, so that when the planet does come up in plane with the sun, that the axis moves very quickly. 75 years, I would suspect, is looking at the top of the Yonaguni Monument. It would not be looking at the bottom of it, it would be the top, and then it would increment down as the axis straightened. Listen, I would prefer to be wrong, quite frankly. It's not a good thing to be correct about. The ring that comes up on the rock, I thought about whether or not you could use the force of the ocean. You know, like I said, if it crushes a submarine, that would not work if it's a half pipe, because the gravity is just going to pull the water back out of the pipe again. There may be something built on the planet already. A full loop works in that respect if it was a siphon, but we're talking a big pipe here. We're talking about the oceans of the planet. It's possible that
such a thing is already built into the planet and exists because of the pyramid builders. They can obviously do a lot of things. It might sound silly, but you know, we've got a rock now that's got a white circle on it that didn't have, and it was only 2 days ago that that happened, and it was purely and simply because I had come to the conclusion the comet and, you know, the Yonaguni site were connected, and as soon as that happened, the comet and the question marks disappeared. I don't know how this happens. I'm just telling you what is, you know, happening. And had it not been for the video I made where the white hook came in the middle of me making the video, I would probably look pretty insane, I guess. But I'm just dealing with what I'm seeing here. If the situation is, as I said, that problem, if the problem didn't exist and the problem has been resolved, right, so in other words, they've set the planet up so when it starts to tip up, that doesn't happen. You don't need to leave wave rock there or the structures to tell us it's going to happen. That's one thing we've got to come to terms with. If in actual fact I'm correct, okay? So if in actual fact I'm saying is right and the sun, it must have an effect. If it pulls the planet up, it's not going to be like the moon here, and it's going to be a different kettle of fish. So therefore, if the structures are in place, you don't need them in place if the requirement to do that is done, right? So as much as I've already said that there's noises happening all around the planet, it could be that they're getting the situation done, but they're not going to turn it on, you know, yet until something happens here. You know, there's obviously, they're not happy, as a lot of us aren't, about certain things that are going down that are not being dealt with, and they need to be. And if they're being protected, which it would seem to be they are, protected at very high levels of federal government, in probably not just our country, it is unacceptable too. I would think that that's why this whole thing has happened to me, why the whole situation has arisen. I know it sounds pathetically stupid to those that look from the outside. To some, it will be very, very understandable. Listen, I'm just saying what I'm saying. If in actual fact what happens, and we have not made a preparation here, we've got a white line coming up on a rock, and maybe that's a secret there, the secret to it, that there's something already here that we need to investigate. I would expect that what we need to do is get a hole from the equator somewhere around the ocean and back out, so that the pressure from the extra water works as a pump, and it just pumps the water back out somehow. I don't know, I'm not a hydrologist. I'm just saying there's a round circle come up on that rock, and I do not understand why. I'm thinking it's going to be related to what we've been covering. Otherwise it wouldn't be there. So that's all I'm suggesting. I don't know how you stop an ocean being moved by a planet. I mean, by a star. That's not, doesn't come into my category of experience. So I certainly do not know what that's about, and what would be the solution. It just seems that there must be a way. You know, there must be a way to neutralise the effect by using the change in the weight of the water of the ocean, somehow or another. I don't quite know how, but yes, I'll have to change the end of that book yet again, and it won't be the first nor second nor third time. I think that's going to be the fourth time I'm going to have to either add a couple of pages or another chapter or two, I think, to be quite frank, with what's happened in the last couple of days. So I'm going to have to go back to removing the end and typing again. That's Brian Whitten, or I should say I'm Brian Whitten, and that's ET Art, and thanks very much. I hope you stayed to the end, and I hope you've enjoyed the video. Thanks very much. Have a nice day. Bye bye.